Going on, everyone? We are only a couple days into the offseason, and Rob Pelinka's already got his hands full. Rob Pelinka's already got to go and trudge through all kinds of stuff to figure out what is he going to do with the Lakers roster. Obviously, he's got to work on re-signing Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves. What are they going to do with D'Angelo Russell? What are they going to do with their draft pick? There's talks about them maybe potentially trading it. And you have now all these reports about stars that may end up being available. And look, that's the Lakers. I know a lot of people don't want that third star. I don't mind it. I don't mind the third star as long as it's not like a Kyrie trade to where you basically lose all of your depth. If you can go get a Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard or something like that and add it to the Lakers, yes, with the new CBA, the cap situation becomes rough. But one, no one's going to care if the Lakers win. Right? As long as the Lakers win, who cares about the CBA? Two, LeBron James money can fall off the books next season, and then you could always just restructure and give him a new contract on a smaller deal so that way you can stay under the threshold or whatever you have to do, and you have your core team. Also, any type of trade like that, you're probably not doing anything else regardless. So all the CBA stuff, it's not like the Lakers have a ton of assets that they're, maybe wanting to wheel and deal. Like the Lakers are very limited. So the CBA, even if they did that, isn't going to really impact them the way that it might other teams for the foreseeable future. Like you have some teams, like the Clippers, like all their guys are locked up for pretty much the next several years. So they're kind of in like this purgatory. Same thing with the Warriors. They're kind of in this purgatory. Where the Lakers, they just kind of go through it for a year and then they can just restructure everything if they need to. Now, you have the recent reports that Bradley Beal, that he is available in trade, that the Washington Wizards are working with Bradley Beal to try to find him a home. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. And so he can dictate and control where he's going to go. Also, a lot of the reports that are coming out, which makes sense. I talked about this in a video that I did earlier, is the market for Bradley Beal is limited and they're not going to get a very good return for Bradley Beal. That basically it's going to be them just kind of unloading Bradley Beal's contract and then getting whatever assets they can because he has such an insane contract for the next 4 years, right? So he's going to go to a team in which he can contend. He's going to go to a team that isn't going to have to gut their roster in order to acquire him. So that makes it very limited. Lakers make a lot of sense for Bradley Beal and make a lot of sense for the Lakers, right? They get their third guy. They get a guy post LeBron James, although he's not, in my opinion, he's getting paid like a superstar, but he's not a superstar. He's more of a star. Very good player, very talented, don't get me wrong, but a lot of injury issues, a lot of concerns. However, again, LeBron, when he leaves, you can kind of restructure your roster. Anthony Davis, you can pay him, and then you got Beal and Davis as like your duo going forward with Rui and Reeves and Vanderbilt and, whoever else you have on the roster. But I really think Bradley Beal is going to end up being a Laker. I could be completely wrong. It's not something, I'm not saying go and, bet the farm on it or anything like that. I just think that the Lakers are one of the few teams that can trade for Bradley Beal, give the Wizards the cap relief, because what they could do is they could just work out like a sign and trade for D'Lo, right? D'Lo wants $25 million a year or whatever, right? Well, you could just say, hey, D'Lo, we're going to give you the max for 1 year. You're going to get a max for 1 year, and then we're going to trade you to the Washington Wizards. We're going to throw in, a Malik Beasley, and then there's the money you need to go get a Bradley Beal, give up the 17th pick, all is right in the world, right? Good. Home run, you get Bradley Beal, you still keep all of your guys. You'd have LeBron, AD, Bradley Beal, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt. You could re-sign Dennis Schroeder still. You could re-sign Lonnie Walker still if you want to. You have Max Christie, still have the 47th pick. You could do some vet minimum contracts, all of that stuff. The Lakers would be turning Beasley and D'Lo into Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's an upgrade over both of them. Lakers would be in a good spot. So I definitely could see Bradley Beal coming to the Lakers via trade. And then once that happens, we have the reports that Chris Paul is very likely coming to the Lakers even without the Bradley Beal trade. even without the Bradley Beal trade, Chris Paul is very likely coming to the Lakers once he figures out what he's going to do with the Phoenix Suns, once he gets waived, and he's very likely heading to the Lakers. Now, Chris Paul would make even more sense if you were to trade for Bradley Beal. Because, again, you're probably unloading D'Lo, and you're probably unloading Malik Beasley. So at that point, if you're the Lakers, you would be in the market for a point guard, a starting point guard. And at this point, if you have Bradley Beal, you have LeBron James, you have Anthony Davis, you're pushing your chips to the table and trying to go all in, right? So you go get a guy in Chris Paul. You have Chris Paul, Bradley Beal. You could go Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. There you go. There's your starting five. And then you'd still have, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Max Christie, Mo Bamba. Ideally, I'd like to see the Lakers go get a vet big, whoever it is. In a perfect world, you go get a Brook Lopez. But that kind of basically becomes impossible. Not impossible, but it becomes very, very, very unlikely if they were to trade for Bradley Beal. But Chris Paul and Bradley Beal coming to Lakers is a very likely possibility, and it's something that I really do think is going to happen. I could be, again, completely wrong. This is just my own personal thoughts, but I think the Lakers are going to end up trading for Bradley Beal because I think they're going to get Bradley Beal for basically pennies on the dollar because of his contract, and Bradley Beal can dictate where he wants to go. I think once we get to like the trade or the draft day, I think you see Bradley Beal in a Laker jersey or that announcement coming. Maybe you hear it a little bit before. You might. But they really can't do it until draft day because the Lakers would essentially have to draft that pick for, the Wizards at that point. But I think the Lakers would... Look, the Lakers love to go big game hunting. The Lakers love to star chase. You go get a guy in Bradley Beal. Now you got your big three. You still have your core pieces. You bring in Chris Paul. Chris Paul can be your starting point guard. Reeves, he's going to get his bag. Hey, buddy, you're going to have to come off the bench for another year. I know it sucks, but, this is what we got to do for the team. We're trying to win an NBA championship. We got Bradley Beal. We got Chris Paul. You're very likely going to start on numerous occasions, and you're still going to play probably 30-plus minutes a game because Chris Paul can't play 40 minutes a game anymore. So Austin Reeves probably plays point guard a lot. You got Dennis Schroeder who can play point guard. You basically got your guard depth down pat. You'd have Schroeder, Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, Austin Reeves. Beautiful. Max Christie, he's grown to 6'6", 6'7" size. So he could play the small forward along with Jared Vanderbilt. Maybe you even move Max Christie into the starting lineup if you wanted to. There you go. You could go that route. Certain teams, you could probably even start Reeves at the 3, right? Because Reeves, he's 6'5", good length, good wingspan. I mean, you can't play him against the bigger, 6'8" small forwards. But, some of the teams like the Warriors, you could probably plug him in and slot him in at the 3 spot if you wanted to. It just would give the Lakers a lot of flexibility, a lot of well-rounded rosters. I really think Chris Paul and Bradley Beal very likely could be Lakers this time in the next week or two. Because the Chris Paul decision has to happen by the 28th of June. So we're going to have the Chris Paul decision either way by the 28th of June. Bradley Beal, I imagine, probably gets done around draft day. Maybe the announcement gets released a little bit before, but draft day is the 22nd. So, we're basically a week away from draft day. And when that happens, I think the Bradley Beal trade ends up going down. Now, maybe Bradley Beal goes elsewhere, gets traded elsewhere, but that no trade clause, it doesn't matter, right? It's where Bradley Beal wants to go. I saw a lot of comments when we were talking about this, and they're like, Lakers just don't have the package to go and trade for Bradley Beal. Other teams could offer more. Well, one, what team is going to be willing to go and trade Bradley Beal to begin with? Two, what team is going to be able to match his insane salary without gutting their entire roster? And on top of that, give up assets for a guy in Bradley Beal. What team is looking at Bradley Beal and going, that's the guy we need to put us over the top? There's not very many outside of the Lakers because they could use another scorer with LeBron's age and, Anthony Davis kind of disappearing on the offensive end at that point. Like, Bradley Beal does make sense for the Lakers. But also, it doesn't matter. Like, again, hypothetical, a little over exaggeration, but the Boston Celtics right now could call the Washington Wizards and say, hey, we'll trade you Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Jason Tatum for Bradley Beal. Right? Like, let's do it. Come on. And if Bradley Beal says, nah, I ain't playing for Boston, then it doesn't matter. Right? Like, right now, the Spurs could say, we'll give you Victor Wembanyama and 10 first-round picks for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal says, I don't want to go to the Spurs. It ain't happening. The Bucks could call with Giannis. Like, hey, we'll trade you Bradley Beal for Giannis. It doesn't matter. If he doesn't want to go to Milwaukee, it doesn't matter. If the Lakers want to offer a bag of peanuts, and Bradley Beal just says, hey, I'm not going anywhere but the Lakers, or, hey, I want to go or let's say the landscape. Let's say, because there already are reports that Boston's not really interested in Bradley Beal, that they want to keep Jaylen Brown and that they're prioritizing Jaylen Brown. But let's say the market is, let's say it's like the Sixers and whatever, right? Like, throw out a team, the Jazz or something like that, right? Or the Knicks. Let's say the Knicks, because the Knicks have a bunch of assets and stuff, and they're a team that I could see maybe trying to trade for Bradley Beal, right? Let's say it's the Knicks, the Sixers, and it's the Lakers, right? And let's say the Knicks and the Sixers are offering better packages than the Lakers. If Bradley Beal doesn't want to go to the Knicks or the Sixers, then that literally just leaves the Lakers. Maybe let's say he is open to going to Boston. Maybe he is, right? But if Boston's not interested, then it doesn't matter. Then it's like, well, Boston's not an option. You have these, if it boils down to 2 or 3 teams, then it doesn't matter where, if he wants somewhere else other than the Lakers, right? So these are all things that you got to keep in mind. And then Chris Paul, he's going to have his services, but he's already said he wants to win a ring. If the Lakers get Bradley Beal, you don't think Chris Paul's looking at that and going, man, me, Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis can definitely win a ring. I mean, there wouldn't be a better starting 5 in the league. Literally, like, hands down. I mean, Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. The only thing that's stopping that team from winning is just injuries, which could be a real thing, right? Because Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Bradley Beal, and Chris Paul are all very injury-prone guys. But as long as they're not all injured at the same time, you're good. And then if you can just be healthy come the playoffs, you're good. And with Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, you don't have to play everybody 40 minutes a game, right? Everybody can just play 30 minutes a game. Lakers probably win a chip this year. And then if you do win a chip, you run it back one more time, see if you can win it. If you don't, then great. If you do, then you figure it out. Maybe you do it again and try to go for the three-peat. But if you don't, LeBron probably goes and leaves and plays with his son. Chris Paul's off the books. Bradley Beal only has like 2 years left on his deal at that point. And then you have Anthony Davis on a new contract. And you're probably still one of the better teams, because you'd still have Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Max Christie. The list goes on and on. So I really think in the next week or two, you could be looking at a roster of Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And this is what the Lakers have always done. Always. Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Pau Gasol, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash. Like, this is what the Lakers do. They go and they try to build those super teams to go win some championships. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. I think Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis would be successful, just because I think the pieces fit. Not only do the pieces fit, but they're all pretty unselfish guys, right? And they all just want the same goal, which is to win. Chris Paul and Bradley Beal have never won, so they'll probably buy in and do whatever it takes to win, especially Chris Paul, because he knows that this might be his last chance. So I definitely think the Lakers could win this. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Think Chris Paul and Bradley Beal come to the Lakers? Do you think they don't? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.